unmute your mic and ask if there is a question concerning yesterday's class. So okay, and we are going to start. I hope everybody, they have loaded their data in their Excel. We'll start on Power Query. So Power Query is a tool for data preparation and transformation that is inside Excel. And Power Query comes with a graphical interface for getting data from sources and applying transformation. So class, using Power Query, you can perform the extract, transform, and load process of data. I hope that is clear. And as I commented earlier in our group, Power Query is available as a add-in for Excel version 2010 and 2013. For those with Excel 2016 and onwards, Power Query has become an inbuilt feature in Excel, so you don't have to worry about that. So I hope everybody did that. If you have Excel version 2010 and 2013, I hope you included Power Query. And those with Excel 2016 and onwards, Power Query is an inbuilt feature. So if you're using Excel 2016 or newer, you will find the Power Query under the data tab named as Get and Transform. So we'll click on our data tab. Our Power Query is named as Get and Transform in our extreme left. This is our Power Query here. So Get and Transform and Power Query are one and the same thing. So if you see Get and Transform, or if you're using an older version, 2010 or 2013, you will see Power Query, then we are good to go. So without further ado, we can start. So on our screen here, we have a small data set that we will be using to transform our data with our Power Query. And our data has 3 columns: GL account, date, and the GL amount. So for this table, our goal is to return a new table under the headers here, this GL account, date, and GL amount, that filters our source data here, to return the rows where the GL amount is greater than 3000. And we are going to use Power Query. So to start, I want everyone to click on their Excel table here. I hope everyone has done that. And next, hit on our data tab, and on our extreme left, Get and Transform, there's a from table / range. So click on it and wait for some seconds. And once we do that, it brings our Power Query editor. Has everybody done that? I hope you're on the same page. I'll just repeat the steps again. I'll just cancel this and discard the changes. To use the Get and Transform feature, or rather the Power Query, click anywhere on your Excel table On our data tab, to extreme left, click on from table/range, and a Power Query editor will appear on our screen. I hope everybody has been able to do that. Is there anybody encountering problems loading our Power Query editor? Before we proceed, so for those who are joining, I'll repeat the step again. So let me cancel, discard. To load the Power Query, click anywhere on your Excel table. On our data tab, to our extreme left, there's this button from table/range. Is there a question? Yes, Emmanuel.
Sorry, data is showing only names.
Sorry?
The data I have received, when I try to open it on Excel, showing names.
It's showing?
FIFA player names.
I want you to click on the next sheet. There's a sheet on the side named Power Query.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Alvin. You're saying it looks like a Power BI. Kinda. So, Emmanuel, please catch up. For those who are joining, I'll just repeat once more. To load our Power Query, click on anywhere on our Excel table. Navigate on our data tab here. To extreme left, there's this from table/range button. Click on it, and we have our Power Query editor. So let's continue. So at the center here, we have our data view. To the extreme right, we have our query settings, which is going to list out all the transformation that we'll be making to our data. So to our right, to our extreme left, we have the query list, and at the moment we have only one query, but as we progress and create different and we tackle different examples, we'll have multiple queries listed here. So at the top we have a ribbon, and we will discuss about it as we go. Are we on the same page, everybody? Anyone with a question? A question? So let's continue. So our first step of transforming is to rename our query. Is there a question? Yes, Emmanuel.
Can you please go over loading the Power Query model?
Okay, no problem. So I'll just close this and say discard. So to load the Power Query, click on anywhere on our Excel table and navigate to our data tab here. And once you have navigated there, to our extreme left, we have this get and transform data section, and I want you to click on the from table/range. Click on it, and our Power Query editor loads. Is that clear, Emmanuel?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So to extreme right, we have our query settings. At the center, we have our data view. On our left, we have our queries, and on the top here, we have our ribbons. So a first step of transforming our data is renaming our query, and I want to rename our query filtered underscore table. To rename, go to extreme right, under properties down there is name, and I want us to name our query as filtered underscore table, and hit enter. Has everyone done that? We are naming our table filtered underscore table. So to extreme right here at applied steps, we see that our data type has changed. So let's click on the source, and you see our columns. Our first columns, the GL account was ABC123 data type, same to date and same to GL account. So once we created our Power Query, the data type changed, as you can see. So our column now is a numeric column, our date column is a date time data type, and our GL amount is a numeric. Is that clear, everyone? I hope that is clear. So next, I want us to change the data type of our date from date time to date. To do that, click on this icon here next to our date header, and you will see a list of items, and I want to change the data type of our date column to date. Click on date, and a pop-up comes up, and replace current, and we have changed the data type of our date column. Has everyone done that? If you have a question, unmute your mic and ask. So the next step that we want to do is to filter our GL amount column here to only return values greater than 3000. And for revision, as we discussed on our first day, is there a question?
Yes.
Yes, Joseph, ask your question. Joseph, ask your question.
Kindly repeat. I'm trying to get the date, but it's not coming.
So okay. So you see at our date column here, the header. Click on this icon.
I don't have that icon. It's only name date.
Is anyone encountering a similar problem? Can comment. Are you in a position of sharing your screen, Joseph?
Okay, let me try.
So let me unshare mine. Share a screen, please.
Okay.
Why not even out to your screen?
So if you have been able to change the date data type, please comment on the messages. If you have succeeded to change the data type. You can comment. And Stella is able. What about the rest? Please comment. Yes, for Alvin is successful.
And I've seen it.
Not yet.
I've shared the screen.
No, I can't see your screen. Is anyone seeing Joseph's screen? Muchiti is Joseph's screen. On my end, I cannot see your screen.
Everyone is able to see. I don't know. Should I stop sharing first? Then try.
You can stop and just repeat so that I can see your screen.
Vote now.
Yes, I can see. Yes, I can see. What version of Excel are you using?
Okay.
Sorry? 2016. So can you go to your view tab at the top of your ribbon? Click on that formula bar. Try and click on that formula bar.
Click there.
Okay, try hitting on your date column. Click on it.
My
Then
Have you double clicked on it so that you can try to solve your problem?
into the
it is
equals before
the
the custom filter.
Am I supposed to fill?
Pardon, Joseph?
Am I supposed to filter anything?
No, don't filter first. No, don't. Maybe you should use let's say version 2016 and above. Or if you have 2010 or 2013, you can include Power Query as an add-in.
Yes.
So Joseph, for now let's continue. Don't change your data type. Let's just continue. Yes, just continue with yours as it is for now. And I'll share my screen again. Priska, you have a question?
No.
And unmute your mic. Mute your mic, sorry. Joseph, yeah, okay. So let's proceed. So now we want to filter our GL amount column here to only return values greater than 3000. So to filter, click on this drop down here. Click on this drop down. Go to the number filters and say greater than. Has everyone been able to do that? So, and we want to filter values greater than 3000. I will input 3000 there and say okay. Has everyone been able to do that? So to our right, you see another step has been included, filtered rows. That shows that you have successfully filtered our GL column to return values greater than 3000. And in our formula tab here, you can see our formula has changed, showing that we are returning amounts greater than 3000. Has everyone done that? Okay, so next we need to load this data back to our worksheet, and to do that, go to our home tab, click on it. On our extreme right, there's this button, close and load. Click on this drop down, and I want to close and load to. Close and load to. So I click on that, and a pop-up comes up. We want to import our data, and it is asking us select how you want to view this data in your workbook. For example, I want us to view it as a table. So the next question is, where do you want to put this data? I want to put it in our existing sheet. So click on existing sheet. So where in our existing sheet, click on this upward arrow, and I want to load our data on cell E2. So click on cell E2 below our GL account column header. So hit on this drop down again. Make sure this checkbox is unchecked. This for adding this data to our data model. Uncheck it, and finally say okay. And our data is loaded back to our worksheet as an Excel table. Has everyone been able to do that? Has everyone been able to do that? So I'll just repeat the process. Let me click there, Control Z. So I'll just start by creating the Power Query again. So click on anywhere on your Excel table. On our data tab, to extreme right, from tables/range, that's where you create our Power Query editor. So our Power Query editor is loading. So the first step we did is to rename our table to filtered table. So if you did not do it again. Our second step that we did was to change the data type of our date to date. So replace current. And there was somebody asking, Alvin, you are saying you are not seeing your formula tab. To view your formula tab, go to the view tab here on top of our ribbon and make sure this button here is checked for formula bar. So if I unclick it, the formula bar disappears. If I click on it again, the formula bar reappears. Is that okay, Alvin? I hope, Alvin, you have seen how we can access our formula bar. So the next step was to filter our query. We want to return values greater than 3000. So return values greater than 3000. Say okay. And our table is filtered. The next step is to load our data back to our worksheet. So I'll click on this drop down here, close and load. We have two options, close and load and close and load to. And for our case, I want to close and load to. So I'll click on that. And there's a dialog box that comes up. So select how you want to view this data in your workbook. We want to view this data as a table. So click on table. The next question is, where do you want to put this data? We want to put it as to our existing worksheet. So click on that. So Stella, are you following? So the next step is to choose where we want to load our data. You are lost? Wapi? Can you share your screen? Here. So that is how we want to load our data. So we want to load our data in our existing worksheet. So to choose where we want to load our data, click on this arrow here, and I wanted us to load it in our column, not column, on our cell E2. So click on cell E2 and then return back to our dialog box. So make sure this checkbox here, add this data to data model, is unchecked. Don't check on it. Make sure it is unchecked, and finally say OK. And a small Excel table will appear to the position we clicked on. Is that okay, Stella? Has everyone been able to do that? Stella?
Yeah.
Okay. So since I had done that, I'll just cancel. So to our right, you see there is a, is there a question?
Yes.
Yes,
I
Wisdom.
have a question.
Mistakenly click to the only note the first one, and I can't turn back my data.
So how does your data look?
Account data ni jina mtu.
G?
There's only 3 columns.
Is it the same as mine here on my screen?
It's the same.
It's the same. So no problem. No problem.
That is in
it's
the same as the only one in green, not the one in blue.
I wanted us to return the green one. We were loading our query back to our sheet here. So if you are, yes, Wisdom.
I have not read back to the sheet. there were two options at clicking to load to, and the first one they said. So I mistakenly clicked on the first one, and I can't undo my that.
Can you share your screen? Are you in a position of sharing your screen?
Let me try.
So let me unshare mine. You can share your screen.
Okay, I'm joining again with the laptop. I was using my phone.
Okay. So anyone with a question you can ask as we wait on Wisdom. Wisdom, you can mute one of your device. So share your Excel worksheet. I'm not seeing your worksheet. I'm just seeing a Google Meet and some things there. Just share your entire screen. Share your entire screen.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes, we can see your screen. So what was the issue?
Before you asked do the process.
So we'll just use your screen. You loaded your Excel table to another sheet. So I want you to click on the Power Query sheet down there. Click on the Power Query sheet and click on your Excel table. Navigate to your data tab. Navigate to your data tab and click on table/range. Click on table/range to just load your Power Query editor. Okay. So rename your table as filtered underscore table. Rename your query as filter underscore table or any name of your liking. Okay. So next, change your data type from date time to date. Click on that icon on your header and change your data type. Rename your query table to another name. Just add 2. just add 2 at the end. Filtered table 2 or any name that you want. Okay, I want you now to change the data type from date time to date. So click on that icon on the date header. Yes, say replace current. Replace current. I don't know if it is your screen which is freezing.
I've replaced it.
Okay, go back to your Excel sheet. Here. So I want you to filter the GL column, the GL amount column, and return values greater than 3000. Greater than 3000. Okay. So now we are ready to close and load our data back to our worksheet. So to our extreme right, close and load to. Click on close and load to. Click on close and load to. Okay. So on where do you want to put the data, click on existing worksheet. Click on existing worksheet. So after doing that, I want you to click on that arrow pointing upwards. Your screen is freezing. Okay, now click on cell E2. Cell E2 there. Yes, there. Okay, now on that arrow facing downwards, click on it again. Click on it again, that arrow facing downwards. Okay, so now say okay. Say okay.
Yes, fine.
And now I think your problem has been solved. So now you can stop sharing your screen so that we may continue. Anybody else with a question? Anybody else with a question? You can ask so that we can help you. So is my screen visible once more? I hope my screen is visible. So back to where we were. So now we have filtered our table and it is a subset of data. It's a subset of our source data, but only containing values greater than 3000. So I hope that was clear. So I want us to now group our data and return the average. So to do that, I want us to once again create a query, and to do that I'll just remind you again, click on our Excel table here, our source data, navigate to our data tab, click on from range/table to load our our Power Query editor. To click on to load our Power Query editor, and the first step that I said was to rename our table, and I want us now to rename our table to aggregated underscore data. We want to rename it to aggregated underscore data. Hit enter, and to our extreme left on our queries section, you see our data's name as updated. So next we want to group our data. Are you together up to there?
Yes.
Okay. So next we want to group our data, and so for this example we don't need this date column. So to remove it, to remove this date column, navigate to our home tab. There is a section here called manage column, and I'm highlighting it with my cursor. Click on remove column, click on the drop down and click on remove column, and now we have removed that column. We don't need it, so we are going to delete it. Has everyone been able to delete that column? If you have a question, just ask. So sawa. So I want to delete this date column here. So I'll just click on it and navigate to my home tab. Moving to my right, there is a section called reduce rows. Sorry, there is a section called manage columns. Go to manage columns, click on the drop down on the remove columns, click on it and hit on remove columns, and now we have been able to remove the column. Are we together? Has everyone been able to do that?
Can you kindly repeat this process?
For removing the column?
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, to remove this date column, please highlight it and navigate to your home tab, and there is a section called manage columns here. I'm pointing it using my cursor. There's this section called manage columns. So go to remove columns, hit on the drop down and click on the remove columns button, and now we have been able to remove that column. Is that okay? Has everyone been able to do that? If you have been able to do that, you can comment on the messages.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi.
Question.
Yes, please ask your question.
In the query sector,
The query sector.
is it a must for the source data to appear the way it's appearing? Because mine is appearing the filtered table and the aggregated data.
Oh, mine appeared because if you can remember, I was demonstrating something, so I had to redo. That's why this third query appears. So if yours is only 2, there's no issue.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any other question? Muchiti, you have a question? Nathan, you have a question?
I'm okay.
Eric, you have a question?
No.
Okay, so let's continue. So I want to group our GL account column here. Is there a question? So I want to group my GL account column, and I want to group this data. So on my home tab here,
Sorry. Excuse.
okay, ask your question.
I thought Ronnie had a question. I saw him raising his hand.
Ronnie, was it Ronnie?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I slipped off a little and I found you doing this where you're deleting the column. So I was asking, how did you come up with it? Because I'm seeing you have created the website.
No, so class, just to clarify, so that query here, this source data table appeared because I was helping a student repeat the first steps for the filtered table. So in your side, if you have two, you're just okay. So no need to worry. So Ronnie, you wanted to, was that your only question, or you wanted to know? Okay. So any other question before we proceed to grouping and aggregating our data?
I've made a mistake.
What
Instead
mistake?
of selecting,
Instead of?
I selected the date column. I selected the first column. So how can I do back the first column?
You see on your applied steps on your right. On your applied steps on your right, you can cancel. You can cancel one of the steps there. Just click on cancel, and now I think you'll go back to your original data, and now you can delete your date column again. Is that clear?
No.
Please
What
applied steps on the query settings to your extreme right. You see there are some applied steps.
applied steps?
Yes. So cancel your immediate step there. I've just cancelled mine, and you have seen my date column.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Okay, so highlight your date column, navigate to your home tab, and to manage columns, on that drop down, click on remove columns, and we have removed columns. Are we together, Joseph?
It's fine now.
Okay, so next I want us to select our GL account, and I want to group this data. So how will we do this? So again, navigate to our home tab on our ribbon, and to our right on this section here called transform, there is this button here called group by. I hope everyone has spotted it. There is this button called group by. So hit on that button, and there is this dialog box that appears. Has everybody been able to do that? If you have difficulties, please unmute your mic and ask your question before I can proceed. Okay, so I'll continue. So our first option here is to give a new column name, and I want us to name our column average amount. I want us to name it average amount. The next section here is the operations, and there is a drop down sign here, so click on it, and we have various options here. We have sum, we have average, we have median, we have mean, we have max, count rows, count distinct rows, and we have all rows. And since we want to calculate our aggregate, I want us to click on average. I want everyone to click on our average. And the final step here, column, we want to calculate the average of our GL amount. So click on that drop down and select GL amount. I hope everybody has been able to do that. So the final step is to just say okay. Once we have said okay, we have grouped our rows and we have found our aggregate, or rather our average amount. Is that clear? A question? Has everyone been able to do that? Okay, so our next step, we want to sort our data by this average amount. So I will click on this drop down here, and I want to sort my data in descending order. So I'll click on this sort descending, and now we have sorted our data. So has everyone been able to do that? Anyone stuck? Please unmute your mic and ask a question. So once we've done that, once we're done with our data transformation, we can now close and load our data to our existing worksheet. And to do that, navigate to our home tab. To extreme right, we have close and load. Click on that drop down, and I want to close and load to. I want to close and load to, so I'll click on that. So we wait for that pop-up. So we are back to our previous step of importing our data, and I want to import my data as a table. So make sure that the table option has been clicked on. We want to put our data into our existing worksheet. So I'll make sure I've clicked on that existing worksheet. Click on this arrow and place our data on this column I2. Yes, that is column I2. Once we have done that, click on that arrow facing down and just say okay. I'll close this, and now we can see we have loaded our data as an Excel table back to our existing worksheet. So a question, anyone? A question? So Mwema, are you okay?
I have loaded a new sheet.
You has loaded to a new sheet.
Yeah.
So there's no problem, but you are supposed to click on the existing sheet. So do you know how to click on our existing sheet?
Yes, I'm there.
So click on your existing sheet, and there's an arrow pointing up. Click on that arrow, and we want to place our data on cell I2. So click on cell I2. So click on that arrow facing down and just say OK. Joseph,
I'm at the GL account, exiting sheet.
can you share your screen? Share screen.
On it.
Okay, I'll stop presenting. Share screen. If you have a problem doing that, please comment there so that I can see your question.
Yeah.
So on my side, I cannot see a screen. I don't know, is everyone able to see Joseph's screen? Okay. Joseph, go back to the Power Query sheet.
Yeah.
Go back to the Power Query sheet. Go to the Power Query sheet. Your screen has freezed on my side, so I don't know if the rest can see your screen well. So Joseph, are you presenting?
Yeah, sharing.
Okay. So Said, I'll come back to you in a few.
Okay.
So so on my side I cannot see a screen. I don't know if the rest can see your screen.
Yeah.
Can also see from my phone, but it's okay. Let's stop sharing. Discuss.
So Joseph, let me present mine and just repeat the process. Let me just repeat the process for you so that you can see how you can load your data to your existing worksheet rather than to a new sheet. Okay. Said, I'll get back to you in a few.
Fine.
So I hope you can see my screen. So the first step was to create the Power Query. So I'll click on data and then from table/range to load our Power Query editor.
Daniel,
Okay.
I can see your screen.
You can see my screen. Can you see it now? Stella?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see
I
it.
downloaded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next step was to delete this column here. I'll remove it. Next was to group by. So our column name was it average amount. So the operation that we wanted to use was average, and the column that we wanted to calculate the average was the GL amount. So okay. Next, sort our data from sort it in descending. Okay, so that is done. So next is to close and load our data. Drop down, close and load data 2. Once you have closed and load the data 2, so Joseph, I want you to be keen here on this dialog box. So we want to import our data as a table. Next, there's a question here. Where do you want to put the data? I want to put the data in our existing worksheet. So click on this existing worksheet. Are we clear, Joseph? I hope that is clear. So next is to hit on this arrow pointing upwards. So I'll click on it. So that will enable us to place a location to where we want to put our data. So again, I want to put it here, and I'll drop that down and just say okay. Let me cancel this, and you see my Excel table was loaded in another location. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Don't forget to click on the load to the existing sheet. So Said, are you in a position of sharing your screen? Said?
No, I'm not using my laptop to Google. I'm using my phone, so it's not possible.
Okay, so it's okay. So let's continue. So have you been able to spot the load icon on your home tab? I know in Excel 2013, I think it is in another location. So you can just look. You can just look at the location, and I hope you can find it. So class, we have been able to create our second table here, and we have been able to take our source data. We've grouped the rows, and now we have another table with our GL account and average amounts. So is there a question before we proceed, or a clarification? So if there is no question, everybody please click on your FIFA 23 players sheet so that we can proceed. Click on your FIFA 23 players sheet so that we can continue. So on my screen, so we have some data here, and it's a dirty data. And why am I saying it's a dirty data? Because it has spaces. It has trailing spaces here. We have some names are being repeated, like this Lionel Messi is being repeated a couple of times. Kylian Mbappe again is being repeated. So we want to clean this data, and we want to do it using Power Query. We want to see how to remove duplicates using Power Query, and we want to see how to remove these trailing spaces using Power Query. We also want to see how we can change this column, the full name column, the club name column, and the nationality name column to uppercase using Power Query. So before doing that, so you see in this column here named value in euros, I want to make it more appealing by including some comma separators in our values to show thousands. I hope you are together. I want to include some commas here to separate our thousand so that we can be able to read those digits. And to do that, class, I want you to select that column, the value column. So once you have done that, in our home tab, in our number section, I want you to hit on this arrow facing to the side here. I want everyone to click on that, and I want to use these 1000 separators in our currency here. So I will click on this checkbox. Click on that checkbox that says use 1000 separator, and finally say OK. And now you can see we have included those commas, and now we can easily read our currency. So we can see Lionel Messi's value is 54 million euros. Kylian Mbappe's value is 190 million 500,000. We can also do that on our wage column. Is there a question? We want to do that on our wage column, and again on our home tab, in our number section here, click on this small arrow facing to the side and click on this use 1000 separator. So click on that 1000 separator and say OK. And now we can clearly see, or rather clearly read the players' wages easily. So Messi is being paid 195 euros, and we can see for the rest of the players what they are being paid. So is that clear, class? Alvin is saying kindly repeat on the separator, and I'll gladly do that. So press Ctrl Z on your keyboard, and I will demonstrate it again using this wage column here, wage column in euros, and I want to include those 1000 separators so that I can able to read my currency properly. So to do that, navigate on our home tab. So in our number section here, there's a arrow. Click on it, and then click on this use 1000 separator. Click on that, and now we can say OK. And now we have included those 1000 separators, and you can easily read the currencies. Alvin, is that clear? Anybody else with a question? Okay. So next. So if you don't have a question, I have a question. So I want somebody to unmute their mic and please tell me the steps to convert this data set here to an Excel table. I want somebody to unmute their mic and please tell us how we can convert our data set to an Excel table. Somebody to unmute their mic. Yes, Emmanuel.
Can you please go back? Can you repeat everything that since we tap FIFA the sheet? Since we have not been network problems.
Okay, so the only thing that we have done is only including these comma separators to show thousands in our currencies. And I'll just go back and I'll demonstrate it using our wage. I had already done that using the player's value. So I'll repeat it using the wage so that you can see, and you can use it too on your value. So highlight on that column. On your home tab, go to the section here, the number section. Click on this arrow here, and now use this 1000 separator. So click on that checkbox and now say OK. Is that clear, Emmanuel? Yes, Ronnie.
I wanted to answer your question.
Okay, so let's first confirm if Emmanuel has sorted the issue out. Emmanuel? Okay, sir. Ronnie? So how do we convert this data to an Excel table?
You press
Control plus A to highlight the whole table. Then you navigate to Home tab towards the right. Format as a table you convert. Then you choose the file you want to use. Then okay.
Yes, that was good, Ronnie, and is correct. So that is one of the method I talked about yesterday. You can highlight all our data and navigate on our home tab there to this style section here and format as a table and select the style you want. So the other shortcut I said yesterday, so you can, pardon? Who was asking the question?
No, I was like, I wanted the shortcut.
Yes, do you know the answer for the shortcut?
Yeah, you can
Yes, share.
highlight by controlling A, then you press Control T.
Yes,
So the table.
good. And that's how we create our Excel table. So that was good, Priska. I see you are concentrating. So now we have our Excel table. And now I'll ask another question. So how do we convert now our Excel table to our Power Query? Somebody to unmute their mic and tell us how to do that. Anybody with an idea? I think I've done it countless times today. Just for revisiting, I want somebody to unmute their mic and tell us.
Okay, can I?
Alvin, can you see my screen? Alvin, can you see my screen? So there was somebody who was answering my question. Unmute your mic and tell us how to convert our Excel table to a Power Query. Somebody?
You should put your cursor on it
Yes, Stella?
and then I am speaking. So you put your cursor on any part of the table, any cell,
Okay.
and then come up with a Liverpool, and then you go to the ribbon,
Okay.
alafu kwa data,
Okay.
and then after hapo kwa data, huku chini kuna mahali pa get and transform. And then sasa get and then sasa hapo from table to finish.
So thank you, Stella. That was good. And now we have been able to load our Power Query editor. So class, that was good. I see you have been following what you have been doing. That is very commendable. So now since we have loaded our Power Query editor, we want to trim. We want to trim these white spaces. We can see on our full name column, in our club name column, and our nationality. To do that, first of all, I will demonstrate using our full name column, and I want all of us to navigate to our transform tab. Navigate to our transform tab. To our right, there's a section here called text column, and I will click on this format. I am showing it using my cursor. I will click on this format. There's a drop down here, and I'll hit on trim. So as you can remember, we discussed, was it on in day 2, we say that if you want to remove leading and trailing white spaces from each cell in a selected column or a whole table, we use the trim function. And now once again we have come across it, so I'll click on it, and now I've removed those white spaces on my full name column. And on our applied steps here on our extreme right, you see another step has been included, that we have trimmed our text. Is there a question up to there? Is there a question? So there being no question, I'll proceed trimming my next column, which is the club name column. Again, I'll highlight my column, and I'll navigate to my transform tab. To my right, there is this section here called text column, and I'll click on this button here, ABC format. Click on that, and I'll use the trim to remove leading and trailing white spaces from each cell in the selected column. Click on it once again, and I have removed white spaces on this column. So again, I will demonstrate it using our nationality column. Highlight that column again. On our transform tab, to our right, text column section, click on that format option, click on that drop down, click on the trim to remove the trailing and the leading spaces. Has everybody done that? Has everybody been able to do that? If you have a question, unmute your mic. Okay, Hinga, thank you. Thank you, Victor. So the next concept, or rather the next thing that I want to do, is to convert these 3 columns, my full name column, my club name column, and my nationality column, to uppercase. I want to transform those data in there to uppercase. So to do that, again, click on the column and navigate to the transform tab. To our right, again, on this format, on this text column section here, again on our format section, click on it. There is this uppercase option. Click on it, and now we have transformed our data to uppercase, or rather capital letters. Is that clear? So I'll demonstrate it again using my club name. Anyone with a question?
It's amazing.
Pardon? Joseph?
It is amazing.
Oh, it is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. So next I want to convert the club name to uppercase. So click on that column again on our transform tab on our text section here. Navigate to our format. Click on uppercase. There it is. And again, just repeat the process on our nationality column, and click on that column on our transform tab on our text column section. Click on that format section there and change to uppercase. And now we have been able to change our data, our full name, club name, and nationality to uppercase. Any question up to there? Okay, thank you, Victor.
To uppercase.
Yes, Joseph.
Why are we changing to uppercase? Why don't we use as it is?
I'm just showing you some ways to. I'm just showing you some functions in our Power Query editor. We're just playing around with our data. You can leave it as it was. I'm just trying to show you, or rather, I want you to get conversant with this Power Query editor and some of their buttons here. So next, I want us to remove duplicates in our full name. I want us to remove duplicates in our full name. And to do that, I want everybody to navigate to our home tab right here and navigate to the remove rows section here. Reduce rows. I'm showing it using my cursor. Click on this remove rows. Click on that. Moving down, there's some option, but I want us to remove duplicates. I want us to remove duplicates. So click on remove duplicates, and now we have been able to remove the duplicate entries in our data. Has everyone been able to do that? Joseph, have you been able to do that?
Yes.
Ronnie, Sarah, Priska, Mwema, Alvo, Alvin, Devox, have you been able to do that? Eugene Pro. Okay. So our final step is to close and load our data back to our worksheet. But this time I want us to load our data to another worksheet. So again, to our home tab, to extreme right, there is this option here, close and load. So click on it. Close and load to. Class, before we do that, we forgot to rename our table. Before doing that, I want everybody, you can rename our table to FIFA. I want us to rename our table before loading it back to our Excel. I want to rename it FIFA 23 players, and I'll just input say clean to indicate that this is a clean data set, and I'll say okay. And now we are ready to close and load our data. So I'll click on this drop down here. So home tab on extreme right, or in our extreme left, sorry, there's this close and load option there. So click on it, and close and load to. We'll use the close and load to. So let's wait for that dialog box. And rather than loading it to our existing worksheet, this time I want us to load it to a new worksheet. So make sure that new worksheet button is clicked. Joseph, please remember to click on that new worksheet button there. So after doing that, and also remember to load our data as a table. After doing that, we say okay, and we see, is there a question? Is there a question?
Yeah, there's a place for add this to the data model. When do we use that? Add this to the data model.
It just depends with your preference, but we'll discuss it later. But now I don't want you to click on that option. Please don't click on that. Yes, make sure it is unchecked. Yes, say okay, and our data, our FIFA 23 players clean data has been migrated to a new sheet. A question, Joseph?
No.
Okay, anybody with a question? So class, we have been able to clean our data. We have been able to trim our trailing and our leading white spaces in our data. We have been able to convert our data to uppercase, and we have been able to remove duplicates in our data using Power Query. So I hope that is clear. So on our extreme right, is there a question? Eric?
Yes, mine has refused.
Yours has refused.
Yes.
Can you share your screen? Are you in a position of sharing your screen?
Yes.
Let me unshare mine. Let me stop presenting. Please share your screen so that we may help you. And if you have a question, please type your question on the in-call messages so that I can see. I cannot see your screen on my side. Share your whole screen and click on your Excel file. Share your whole window or screen, yeah. Eric, share your whole screen.
Now,
I cannot see your Excel sheet. I want you to share your whole screen. Share your whole screen.
this one.
There's a section where you can share your whole screen rather than this section you have selected.
Can you share?
So if you want to share your screen, just click present and there's this entire screen. Eric, are you still in a... Yes, if you want to present, click on present and move to your right. There's share your entire screen. Click on it and then click on the screen there and say share. Please do that. Anyone with a question, please type your question.
Like,
So is everyone able to see Eric's screen? On my end, I cannot see anything.
different. This is the previous one.
Pardon? Okay, now I can see your screen. You can now ask your question.
Click here and close and blow this using.
Oh, yours, is this the first time you are encountering that problem? Okay. So can you try clicking on another column on your data? Click on another column. And then go back to your home tab.
Yeah.
Your screen is frozen. And now go to close and load. Okay, I think is this the first time you are encountering this problem? The previous examples that you have been doing, have you been able to close and load too?
Yes.
Also, in your free time, you can just cancel that and just repeat the process, and I think you'll be able to close and load too. So if you are able to do it before, you'll still be able to do it again. You can just start over and just repeat, and I think the issue will be solved. Okay, Eric?
Yes.
So stop sharing your screen so that I can continue. So back to my screen. I hope everyone can see mine. Hope everyone can see my screen. Somebody to unmute their mic and confirm. So okay. So while loading our data back, there's this query and connection section that appears every time you are loading our data. Placing our cursor, you see it just gives us a review, rather a summary of our data. So that is the purpose of that section there. So if I clicked on our filtered table, it just gives us a small summary. Our aggregated data, it gives us a small summary. And class, that was all for today. I open the floor for questions and reviews, comments. I open the floor. Anyone can unmute their mic and say something. A question, a comment about today's class, or anything. Anyone with a question? Anyone with a question? So since there is no question, so class will be receiving our assignment, which you will do, and I want it presented by Saturday midnight. I want to receive your assignments by Saturday midnight. By midnight, I want to receive your assignments so that I can go through it and mark it, and to see if you have been getting these concepts that we have been discussing. So Stella, thank you. So before everyone leaves, I want to show you something on my screen. So there's this site called Kaggle. So yesterday I received a request for me to share data sets, and now I want to show you where you can get countless data sets. So I'll go to my Google search here and just type Kaggle. I'll search Kaggle. I will receive a feedback here. I'll just click on it. And first thing, you'll create your account. So mine is already created. And to access datasets for your practice, you can navigate here. There is this option here for datasets. Everyone pay attention on my screen. There is this option here for datasets. So click on it. And Kaggle has a lot of datasets that you can use for practice. There's a lot of datasets here. We have a lot and so many. So you can scroll down and I can explore all datasets. And you can see the number of datasets available. 253,111. So you can download any dataset that you want and practice what we have learned. I hope that is clear, class. You can download the dataset and use it for revision to practice the concept that you have been discussing this week and next week. Is that clear? Yes, Victor. So that was all. Have a nice evening. Please do the assignment. Tafadhali, do the assignment and present it on time. If you present it late, I'll deduct some points in your overall grades. So goodbye everyone. See you tomorrow or on Monday. So bye bye.
Bye.
Bye Victor.